He will not be resting. NBC's Yasmin Moussoukhian is outside of the courthouse for us. Also with us is former FBI General Counsel and former senior member of the Mueller probe, Andrew Weissmann, and former federal prosecutor and Georgetown law professor Paul Butler. So, Andrew, you were in the courtroom today, and you talked about Susan Hoffinger's cross. You said it was impressive. Andrew Weissmann, you watched it as well. Give us a description of what she did with Bob Costello and why it was potentially so effective.
Well, let's start with she was helped by the conduct of the witness. That was a gift to her because.
So give us a word. Yesterday it seemed belligerent. What was it today?
It was the word that the judge used, contemptuous. Speaking out in court in reaction to the judge's rulings. He's a witness. He is not the judge. Saying, I'm going to strike that. As the judge said, that's what the judge does, not the witness. Reacting, saying, geez, rolling his eyes, staring down the judge. All of that is beyond the pale, let alone for a lawyer. This is, who knows better.
And today he seemed snippy and arrogant.
Yes, he also was, it'll be interesting to see what some of the female jurors and even male jurors would have thought to what he said after he was chastised by the judge, outside the presence of the jury. When everyone came back, he looks at Susan Hoffinger, who asks a question that I've been told everyone could hear, and says, speak into the microphone.
I heard it, and I'm in the back of the courtroom.
Right.
And that was striking. And then he's also damaged by the facts of the case because they had all these emails. This is a man who loved to write emails, and he loved to use profanity in the emails. He spoke contemptuously. He called his putative client, Michael Cohen, an a-hole, and that's not the way he phrased it in his email. And he laid out the conspiracy. Is this guy nuts? Taking on the most important man on the planet, the most powerful man.
So, Paul Butler, if you're showing this to your class at Georgetown, what's the lesson to be learned?
Don't do this.
In technical terms.
Yeah, why was this witness called? So he's got information about Michael Cohen, not Donald Trump. Michael Cohen is not on trial. The defense hoped that he would impeach the credibility of Mr. Cohen. I think he ended up enhancing it. Remember, Michael Cohen testified that he didn't want this guy to be his lawyer because he didn't trust him. After this performance by Costello before the jury, that judgment has been confirmed.
Is that one of the problems? And I guess maybe it goes away when you go into the jury room, but there is a sense often in a trial, and certainly in this trial, where it does seem like the person on the witness stand is the one who is on trial.
Well, just go back to...
That's the job, right, on cross.
Yeah, to your question and to Katie's question, the last witness, the jury could find that his emails portray Donald Trump as a mob boss. The kind of emails that I saw are exactly what you see in a mob case, where this is underlings that the jury could find who's trying to find out what the witness has. Does he have information that could damage the boss? And is he going to give it up? And who's he going to report that to? And
parenthetically, I know they've been instructed, and they will or they will not obey. We think that they will because of the way people take Judge Merchan seriously and jurors do in general. So they've got a whole week. They're not supposed to read or talk about this trial. Well, what do you know? Rudy Giuliani is going to be reported on in the press, and it's not this case, but it's that he was ducking a subpoena, and he now has appeared on an election interference case remotely in Arizona. So if it's somebody in their family is reading something and says, hey, look at this about Rudy Giuliani, and they're making the connection, oh, that Rudy Giuliani who was trying to pressure Michael Cohen in the case that I'm deliberating on, because it's Rudy Giuliani is right there, as the shadow figure next to Robert Costello on the witness stand. He's now part of this case.
Yeah.
And they're not violating any rules.
Well, even if you intend, in her scenario, even if you intend as a juror to follow the judge's instructions, it's hard today. 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
with social
not so
media,
hard.
right.
But now, even with just pop-ups on news headlines,
You know, the one thing I will say, having sat on a jury and obviously been a lawyer in cases, is even if there's stuff that comes in through osmosis and you can't get rid of it, because you've seen something, I think jurors really take their obligations seriously. I can't say it's, 100% of the time. I think people rise to the occasion. And, when I was on a jury, we did not deliberate until we were told we could deliberate. We only talked about what happened in court. I mean, it was what you want it to be. So I do think that you could see that.